is on Multi TV and Gifty Ando Apia. Tonight, Parliament dismisses a minority motion demanding investigations into the sale of Merchant Bank to Forties on grounds that the matter is still pending before the courts. A Denton Member of Parliament is challenging reasons behind a demolition exercise early this morning, which resulted in the death of a man shot by the police. He says he'll take the matter to the appropriate authorities for redress. Also tonight, President John Mahama is to meet with the media at the Flagstaff House as part of events to mark his 1 year in office tomorrow. And NPP Chairman Jacob Echevilante has announced his intention to seek re-election as national chairman. Meanwhile, a youth activist insists the party can only be successful in the 2016 election if individual members shun their selfish interests. In international news, German Chancellor Angela Merkel has fractured a bone in her pelvis in a ski accident in Switzerland. We have all this plus the latest in business and sports coming up shortly. Welcome to the details. Now, one person was confirmed dead and 3 others were arrested when a team of police personnel on Monday morning destroyed over 200 illegal structures at a dental housing down in Accra. The over 200 illegal structures were all situated on a 640-acre land belonging to the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority. The demolition of the structures caused a stir among the occupants of the buildings.
The demolition exercise started at about 6 a.m. Monday morning. Several structures, including churches, auto mechanic shops, and makeshift structures, were pulled down. The affected persons wailed uncontrollably, seeing their properties go down. Others just stared, while others rushed to salvage what was left of their belongings. The affected persons noted, though several notices had been sent to them to vacate the area in the past years, the exercise never took place and they least expected the quit notice was ever going to be effected.
Oh, it was your first time, but we should dear corner, with a wow, dear corner, and Krasasi, and Krasasi for no kufabi.
Na see ama announcement na da se montunti ade na matwen afi momo mobobu dan ni mom na mo
announcement say hanom payinfo ha omko MC homes o enye hwe first ababe last year e basa hwiansi
ya wa association ya register bibia ya tese de enwo hia se yetua ma ban bia yetua na se executive wo ho na bibi kura na mo ma ya letter mo ma ya hwi ya no masu bia wo ho oh yetua ya twan am yetua internal revenue yetua enet bibia yetua we pay everything
3 months ago mo dey notice ne buy and some of them
o be dis kan so
ya to e mu encourage say yansi o be breme we ase mu na what you see ka to asase say na ya be bubu fie say dia nyami wo ya ni asembia na ebeka
The police, however, had to battle with some alleged landguards as they attempted to stop the exercise. One young man was shot by the police in the process.
About 25 of Langas laid ambush when the machine proceeded to where they have sold their piece of land to individuals to develop. They allege they will not allow the exercise to carry on. So all of a sudden, they raised an alarm, and a few policemen that followed the machine were under attack with cutlasses. So one was attempting to slash a policeman from behind through warning shots, and then one of the Langas got shot.
3 other men suspected to be land guards in the area were also arrested and sent to the Adenta police station. The 640-acre land belonging to the Ghana Civil Aviation has been earmarked for a suburban business center.
Meanwhile, the Member of Parliament for Adenta, Ashimo, has denied knowledge of the demolition exercise which took place Monday morning at the Adenta Aviation lands. The MP challenged the reason for the demolition and insisted he would take the matter to the appropriate authorities for redress.
I don't know who is building, because government doesn't build business center. Government doesn't build shopping mall. You have to get my point for everywhere.
The Member of Parliament, Ni Ashimo, was not happy about the turn of events, arguing that the Adenta Assembly was not notified about the exercise.
If I'm saying that this is it's not determined by one person, but determined by the staffs, people, electoral, unity committee members, government appointees of the Assembly. We had wanted even to bring this issue back to the Assembly for discussion on the 14th of this month, where people has blocked the meeting that we can't call that meeting to discuss about these issues.
According to the officials of the project, the land is to be developed into a business district for Medina, Adenta and its surrounding areas. Consultant on the project, Frank Taki, noted the project and its site plan had already been presented to the Adenta Assembly.
I was invited 3 times, did presentations, they asked questions, they gave us corrections, we went back. So we did that, and then finally they approved. They approved of it. So,
he also indicated the project had even delayed for 6 months and work would soon begin for the first phase of the project after the site has been cleared.
The first phase is to put in the roads and infrastructure, drains, water supply, and so on. And that should be taking a span of 6-7 months to get that through. The next phase will be the actual buildings in the various pockets of development that will take place. But the initial stage will be to actually totally clear the site, and the challenges of how to free the site for construction, that might probably take another 1 month or so.
For one of the affected persons, government should stick to its plans of developing the land as quickly as possible, since some of the affected persons risk coming back to the site.
Government has begun re-registration of vehicles for ministries, departments and agencies. Transport Minister Jifa Atibo announced Monday morning the re-registration will be in 4 phases. It will span from January 30th to April 2014, and it will cost the country a total of 15 billion Ghana cedis.
The Transport Minister announced the registration is going to be in 4 phases and will cover vehicles of ministries, departments and agencies. The first phase started on January 6 and will end on 21st January. The second phase will span from 28th January to 8th February, and the third phase and the fourth phase will be between 30th March to 30th April. The process, she reiterates, is to ensure that government officials adhere to the President's directive not to use government vehicles after 6 p.m. and also for personal purposes.
The exercise, which will be carried out in all offices of the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority, that's the DVLA, will involve the following. A. Issuance of a new number plate with green background. B. The number of vehicles in white letters embossed on the plate, which include 1. A GV prefix identify that the vehicle belongs to government. 2. The year of registration of the vehicle as suffix. 3. A code identify the ministry, department, and agency that the vehicle belongs. 4. A code identifying regional coordinating councils, metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies to which the vehicle belongs.
She also announced government is expecting about 15,000 new vehicles that will be registered. The entire re-registration process, which will involve manufacturing of number plates, documentation of each vehicle particulars, and others, will cost the country 1.5 billion Ghana cedis.
This re-registration exercise is one of a number of regulatory measures government has decided to implement to promote the efficient and economic use of government vehicles. Other Other measures include the allocation of official vehicles and use of fuel, maintenance of vehicle access register, and preparation and implementation of appropriate internal policies and procedures to regulate the use of all government and project vehicles.
According to the DVLA, every ministry has a code and can be identified by that code, which will be inscribed on its number plate. Office of Government, for instance, has a code 01. Under that 01 are the various departments and agencies which are also coded, so that, for instance, under the Office of Government Machinery, which is 01, one of its departments, Office of the President, has the code 1, and then it will be followed by the number plate. But it should be noted that each of the government vehicle numbers are prefixed with GV.
In place to register these vehicles, we are looking at only 5 ministries. And as per experience, registration peaks from the 2nd of January and dips by the 15th of January, by which time we'll be in a position to take over this other project from government. So we know the pressure on us, and as a reason, out of the 25 ministries, we are looking at beginning with 5 ministries for now. That will ensure that the capacity we have currently in our offices accommodates this 5.
Coordinator of the Government Vehicle Re-Registration Project, Vincent Kwagbenu, added the process is very necessary. Etonamse, Joy News.
Let's go to the presidency now, and President John Mahama's first official duties in the new year started today after the holidays. On his first day back at work, the president sanctioned the monthly change of guard duties at the Flagstaff House. There's more in the following report. The Ghana Air Force handed over security duties at the Flagstaff House to the Navy. The change of guard is the 9th since it was instituted in May 2013 after President Mahama relocated the seat of government from the castle to the Flagstaff House. The ceremony also precedes a lineup of activities to mark the first-year anniversary of President Mahama starting tomorrow. The short ceremonial parade was witnessed by the President, the Vice President and security chiefs of the country, as well as pupils of Ring Road East 1 Primary School and the Father John Strafford Education Center in Kaswa. They were presented with bookmarks with a message from the President. So we attempted to find out the understanding of the President's message. There's a little message here from the President. What do you make of it? What does it mean to you?
It means a lot. It tells us that go confidently in the direction of your dreams with Ghana at heart. And I'm sure that all Ghanaians watching me will surely take this and use it.
How are you going to use it?
Okay, that's
by reading.
So we should go confidently in the direction of our dreams with Ghana at our hearts.
What does it mean to you?
He said we should learn, we should continue to read, so that in anything we should put Ghana at our hearts, so that when we achieve our goals, we should still put Ghana at our hearts. We should not make anything which will destroy Ghana. I'm going to help people respect the nation.
Actually, it's just talking about reading. Reading, we should read hard.
The military police, they don't guard the president.
What are you going to do personally?
All I'm going to do is just take my education serious, and then, yeah.
There have been questions about the real significance of an almost borrowed English ritual. What appears been done over the months that this change of guard ceremony has been instituted is some kind of reorientation for pupils and students, perhaps towards a sense of nationalism. For Joy News, Gifty Andropia, Flagstaff House. Remain at the presidency. Now, President John Mahama will tomorrow interact with the media at the Flagstaff House. This is part of activities to mark the first year of the first term of the president. The meeting, which is scheduled for 11 a.m. tomorrow at the banquet hall of the Flagstaff House, will allow selected media practitioners, including the Presidential Press Corps, pose questions to the president about his governance. Officials of the presidency say provisions have been made in this year's presidential media interaction for specialized practitioners such as sports and showbiz reporters in a response to concerns raised in previous Meet the Press series hosted by late President Atta Mills. Details of the other activities this week to mark the anniversary are, however, not yet known. Still at the Flagstaff House, Vice President Kwesi Bekoye Mr. Arthur has reiterated government's commitment to focusing more on private international cooperations to boost the country's economy. Mr. Arthur was addressing the Italian Foreign Minister Emma Bonino at the Flagstaff House. He urged her to encourage more Italian investments in Ghana. Emma Bonino called on the Vice President at the Flagstaff House to discuss Italian investments and other partnerships in Ghana.
Both sides agreed the existing bilateral relationship should be taken further. Emma Bonino said talks for the launch of an Italian-African initiative are ongoing in this regard. She said her visit to 3 African countries, namely Sierra Leone, Senegal and Ghana, is to identify priorities of the respective government in order to create relevant partnerships.
Our idea is also to organize a Ghana country presentation in Rome. We are already exchanging views on the long-lasting idea of the reform of the Security Council, but also on international campaign on human and civil rights. So it's a country with whom we really want to, if possible at all, and if there is any interest from your side, to really develop a full-fledged cooperation on several issues. I will also meet the Minister of Defense.
The Vice President noted in particular Italian investments in Ghana's energy sector. He lamented some security shortfalls which have hindered development on the African continent, but said Ghana's focus is on establishing a strong economy by shifting from the traditional international state support. He called on the Italian side to convince investors there about Ghana's business potentials.
We are currently facing challenges that Italy also seems to be facing, where tax revenues, tax receipts are no longer able to meet with the high levels of government expenditure. And what we are trying to do now is to move the emphasis from government to the private sector. And that's where I hope that the relationship, as we are defining it, will lead to some new areas where Italian private investments participates more actively here. We think that we've come to almost to the end of that kind of relationship of official development support. We think that the new relationship should be seen in the area of private sector investments. And there are many areas and there are many initiatives that we have started which should encourage Italian private companies to come. And there are many companies that have been here for decades, and they can then assure their counterparts in Italy that we mean business.
Other initiatives currently being discussed between the two countries include a food export initiative called Women for Export, talks on reforms of the Security Council, and international campaign on human and civil rights. For Joy News, Gifty Andopia, Flagstaff House.
Still watching the primetime bulletin here on Joy News on Multi TV. When we return, we'll tell you how the Merchant Bank saga fared in Parliament. We'll also do some politics. Please don't go away. You're welcome back. Let's start off with some politics now. The national chairman of the new Patriotic Party, Jake Otanka Obeche-Bilante, has formally announced his intention to seek re-election as the party's chairman. The NPP stalwart identified the recomposition of the party's electoral college and effective handling of the internal wranglings within the party from escalating as some of his track records.
Jake Obeche-Bilante pledged that if elected, he will bring on board experiences and lessons learned from the 2012 general elections to ensure victory for the party in 2016.
We took a party that was in some disarray after losing the 2008 elections when it had been in government. We took a party that was very down, and we were able to build it up again. We were able to do more training than we have ever been able to do before, which is why we were able to win 121,000 more votes than the NDC at the parliamentary level. This is a party that is extremely well organized at the moment. We were able to have a national primaries that involved 110,000 people for the first time in our history.
He denied assertions that he belonged to the camp of Nana Akufo-Addo, but indicated he was rather working for the overall interests of the party and promised to support any candidate the party chooses to be its flag bearer in 2016.
I have never declared my support for one candidate. Okay, what I have done is declare my support for the candidate that will be chosen by the party, and to make sure that I move heaven and earth to make that candidate win the general elections. I believe that is a job of the national chairman, is to whip up the party and get the party moving in the way that will make sure that our candidate becomes the president.
Commenting on factionalism within the party, Jacob Lamte said such internal divisions is good for the overall democracy of the party, but must be handled properly.
What the MPP has shown and continues to show is that it welcomes democratic competition, that it is not just locked into hero worship or thinking that only one person can lead the party, that they will go ahead, they will compete. So when there's competition, you will follow one person, I will follow another person. But at the end of the day, when the decision is made for who should be the one person who sits in that position, then we all of us combine and then make sure that we give full support to that person.
4 other persons, including Stephen Intim, Fedowari and Paula Foko, have all declared their intentions of annexing the chairmanship of the NPP from Jake Obechebi-Lamte.
The Akwapim North Municipal Assembly is losing several thousands of cedis as a result of its failure to tap into potential tourism site. The municipality boasts of a waterfall at Aprede and the Okomfoanoche Sacred Grove, which remains largely undeveloped.
Sadly, the road leading to the site is very rocky, making driving difficult for vehicles. The path to the site is also bushy, making it unsafe for people to use despite the assembly's inactivities in improving the site. Some local and foreign visitors throng the place every day.
Oh, I'm here to see the stone Okomfoanoche slept on it, so that when I get to Accra, I can tell my friends about it. Then I'll bring them here to see, because it's very nice and interesting. I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed.
Why?
Nice. They have to renovate the whole place and everything and create something around this so that when people come around, they can watch.
Famosa Nkumu was excited about the site.
Naturally, some people they have not have time to come here, but I thank God that He made me to come here for the first time, and the way we passed and everything, it looked very natural. White people, they will spend money to come here, but me, I just came like that, and I really like the place. Everything look natural. If you take a picture and you send out on it, people will believe and they will feel impressive.
Until the assembly develops the site, it will continue to lose its importance with time.
Road accidents significantly increased this festive season. The Motor Traffic and Transport Department of the Police Service recorded 130 road crashes compared to 102 in 2012. The MTTD blames the increase on drivers misconducting themselves on roads.
130 accident cases were recorded during this year's festive season, with 235 vehicles involved, 6 fatal, and 94 minor accidents and 67 injured. Fatigue has been described as a major cause of road accidents during festive occasions, especially Christmas.
In 2013, we started 23rd December to 29th December. All these would have been increased. 2013, we recorded 130 accidents. The number of vehicles involved were 235. We had 6 fatal, 30 serious, 94 minor accidents. The 6 people, 5 were male, 1 female. Persons injured, 67. So you can see that there have been increase in the accident rate during the same period.
Speaking in an interview, the MTTU Accra Commander, Chief Superintendent A. Fusuaka, said the MTTU will enforce the law stringently in the new year.
And this year, last year, 2013 Christmas was for 2 working days, as compared to the previous one that we have 1 or 2 holidays in addition. So this year, people were rushing to go home and come back to office. Then the next 3 days, they have to go back to work and all those things. So these are some of the factors that people were tired, people were rushing, a whole lot of. And then you could see the human traffic during the period all over the city. So these are some of the factors that have matter of account.
He also charged motorists to observe road regulations, especially on zebra crossing.
Because most of these drivers do not observe it, and the pedestrians who have choose to just cross the road at any section of the road that they think they can use. So our advice is that pedestrians also should use the design or designated place for them, so that we can reduce some of these pedestrian accidents. And drivers should observe the road traffic regulation, the regulations that is mandatory for all of us to go by it.
The former Vice-Chancellor of the University of Education, Professor Anamwa Mensah, has called on government to develop a policy framework on an ICT-based educational system in Ghana. According to him, an ICT-driven education has the potential of addressing the huge educational gap in the country. He was speaking at the opening of the 65th Annual New Year School in Accra.
Professor Jofus Anamwa Mensah expressed worry at the alarming rate of poor access to tertiary education in the country. According to him, only 4.1% of the population has access to post-secondary education. A challenge, he said, government must address by not only putting up structures, but considering an ICT-based educational system for Ghana.
Educators and policymakers must turn to new technologies, including e-learning or online learning, for solutions. There is no other practical alternative unless we want to keep, for example, the over 90% of the people from entering the promised land of knowledge, innovation, and opportunities. The relentless advances in information and communication technologies and its attendant globalization are transforming all areas of human endeavor, including job profiles and skills required in the marketplace, and improved learning and management in the educational system.
He added the introduction of open education, which is ICT-based, could go a long way in achieving Ghana's Millennium Development Goals.
Investment in ICT-driven education will lead to world-class education, not only for an elite group, but for a greater number of people. It is my hope that the government will invest heavily in this venture by ensuring that all institutions and learning centers are wired by 2025. That support is given for developing the capacity of academic staff in institutions to be able to integrate technology in instruction, to create open educational resources, and to adapt open educational resources developed by others.
Minister for Education, Professor Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman, noted that government recognized the role of ICT and is poised to ensure that education is driven by it.
Clearly, the modes of knowledge acquisition cannot remain the same, and this is why I welcome your theme. Government should be obliged to receive from this New Year School the specific interventions in education that the ICT is expected to resolve. During the next 4 years, we will be very interested in how you come up with suggestions to address challenges of efficiency, the changing roles of the teacher, challenges of cost, the desired results, especially as we reach many people who will learn via distance. We need to empower our students, especially in the universities and polytechnics, Also to develop open source software application suited for our local context to be deployed at all levels of our education system, from primary to the tertiary and beyond.
The annual New Year School and Conference is a national program held by the Institute of Continuing and Distance Education of the University of Ghana. This is the 5th edition themed Information Communication Technology will examine the challenges and prospects of ICT in education. Matilda Pamaga for Joy News.
When we return after this break, we'll bring you some more news about the Forties Merchant Bank deal. Please stay. And of course, as usual, Abigail Adumakwa-Antwi is standing by with some more news on Forties and Merchant Bank. It's interesting how this issue is panning out, isn't it?
I tell you, it's quite interesting. You know, a lot of challenges here and there, even though the deal has been sealed.
That's why it's funny.
I wonder, but you know, let's
we'll go to
know
Parliament
what
and see what would really
be happening. Of course, my name is Abigail Adumakwa-Antwi, and here is Story Business. Now, the Speaker of Parliament, Edodo Ajahu, has dismissed the motion filed by the Deputy Minority Leader and MP for Bimbela demanding an investigation into the controversial sale of Merchants Bank to Equity Fund Forties. The Speaker said allowing the motion will prejudice a case that is currently before the courts.
Minority MPs filed a motion based on Article 112 of the Constitution demanding an immediate investigation into the controversial sale of Merchant Bank to Forties. The Equity Fund has already taken over Merchant Bank in a controversial manner after paying 90 million cedis for 90% shares in Merchant Bank. The motion filed by the minority mandated the Speaker to recall MPs from holidays for an emergency sitting. The majority, led by the Majority Leader, were not happy with the recall and argued there is no merit in the motion to warrant the summons.
Mr. Speaker, I'm raising this because
a point of order.
Yes, the point of
which order are you as the gentleman breached?
Yes, Order 93, Rule 1, Mr. Speaker. And with your permission, I read. The order says references shall not be made to any matter on which the judicial decision is pending in such a way as may, in the opinion of Mr. Speaker, prejudice the interests of the parties. Mr. Speaker, I am actually craving your indulgence in this matter to take a closer look at the motion and its substance and find out whether this particular motion, if it is moved in the current form in which it is not likely to offend Order 93, Rule 1.
I do not see how an inquiry, a parliamentary inquiry or investigation can take place on Forties, the acquisition of Merchant Bank by Forties, without any references being made to matters that are pending before the courts of competent jurisdiction.
But the minority, led by Osei Mensah Bonsu and the former Attorney General Papa Wunsu Ankuma, argued that Parliament, as representatives of the people, had the right to investigate any matter of public interest.
It shall not be made to any matter on which judicial decision is pending in such a way. You should have the full complement. Mr. Speaker, it doesn't say that reference should not be made of anything at all. It is my view that in the exercise of its oversight responsibility, Parliament should not consider this particular order as constituting an ouster on its powers to exercise oversight. If we do that, it will be extremely dangerous.
The argument intensified. The Speaker gave a 1-hour break and returned with a verdict to dismiss the motion.
The point of order is hereby sustained. Accordingly, the motion calling on this House to investigate the offer by an acquisition by Forties Equity Fund Limited and other related matters is ruled out of order. I must quickly add this ruling. I must quickly add that there are other tools available to this House that can be utilized if the House so decide, and it is entirely left to the House to decide as much.
The Speaker then adjourned sitting to the original resumption date on January 28.
Well away from Parliament, President of the Ghana Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Dr. Sete J. Bar, has described a move by the central bank to allow banks pay up to 5,000 cedis to third parties who present checks to them from the 10,000 cedis paid earlier as a panic situation and unwarranted. He says the directive would not address any difficulties in the banking sector and is therefore asking the Bank of Ghana to find real solutions to their challenges. The Bank of Ghana has recently cut down the third-party payment of checks from 10,000 to 5,000. I want to know, for the business community, how does this come across to you?
I look at it as a panic situation. It doesn't address any issue. The only thing is that if I'm the owner of the business, I'm sitting here, it has to take me some few hours to go to the bank. And of course, the big people go to the bank, they don't queue. So it's the same withdrawal. So what is the difference? If I give you a check of 5,000 and I take 30 minutes to drive to the bank and collect 100,000, what is the difference? It's just a matter of buying some time. Let's find rare solutions. We know we have problems. Let's sit down together, address them, and move on. Because these are panic situations, trying to do something to shake the system, to wait to buy some time. We all buy some time as business people. So I think this, yes, is buying some time, but it doesn't address any issue.
For the bank, they are using this to address fraudulent activities in the banking industry.
It's a matter of trying to encourage checking system, where the checks is given to you, you put it into your accounts 2 or 3 days so that we reduce cash transactions. That is what they are trying to do. It's nothing about fraudulent. We should do things right. Ghana has so much resources, a lot of resources, that we don't even need foreign aid if we manage it well. And because we had a lot of challenges, foreign direct inflows did not come that much. Donor countries, they don't release money on time and that much. So there's a lot of pressure. That is why a lot of bills have not been paid. Common fund and other things have not been paid. As of today, third quarter is not paid, fourth quarter is over and other things. So there's really pressure on government. Contractors are complaining and other things. We are aware there is a challenge. They should find permanent solutions.
Well, we'll still stay with the central bank, and government would issue the country's third 7-year bond in May. The government, through Bank of Ghana, is hoping to raise 300 million Ghana cedis from the sale of the securities. The notice was contained in a Bank of Ghana calendar for the issuance of government securities released today. The central bank would also sell 1 5-year bond in March and 3-year bonds in February, April and June this year. In all, the Bank of Ghana is hoping to raise some 12.7 billion Ghana cedis from the sale government securities from January to June. The country last year issued 2 7-year bonds in August and November to raise 100 million Ghana cedis each. Some analysts are hopeful the issuance of these long-term bonds would encourage some corporate institutions as well as government agencies like the VRA to issue long-term bonds to finance their operations. Joy Business gathers that the issuance of these bonds is a measure by government to explore the possibility of selling a 20-year bond soon. Now, textile workers say they will soon hit the streets to press home their demand for the reinstatement of the anti-piracy task force on textile. Over 700 members of the association last month embarked on a similar protest to register their displeasure over government's decision to suspend the work of the task force. They say their concerns have yet to be addressed almost a month after presenting a petition to the ministry. Now to some international business news. Shares of Taiwanese mobile phone maker HTC have fallen after its reported weaker than expected profit for the October to December quarter. HTC shares fell as much as 4% to 133 Taiwan dollars on Monday as investors are worried about its future prospects. On Sunday, the firm reported a net profit of $300 million for the period compared to a profit of $1 billion during the same period last year. HTC has lost nearly 3/4 of its market value in the past 2 years. The decline in its value has been prompted by a big drop in its share of the global smartphone market. And that'll be all for business. I'm Abigail Adumaku-Nchi. Sports is up next with George Ado Jr.
Let's chase the very latest in the world of sports, and Ghana's local Black Stars had their first training session since arriving in Johannesburg for the 2014 African Cup of Nations Championship yesterday, and have lined a friendly with Mauritania on Wednesday. Joy Sports can confirm Ghana's local Black Stars will play Mauritania on Wednesday in Johannesburg in their final pre-2014 African Nations Championship friendly. The local Black Stars arrived in South Africa yesterday from Namibia, where they camped for 8 days. The highlight of their stay in Windhoek was the 1-0 win over the Brave Warriors in the friendly played on Saturday. Ghana in action next Monday against Congo in their Group C opener before engaging Libya and Ethiopia. Mauritania's opening in Group D will be against 2009 winners DR Congo. They will also face Gabon and Burundi. The 2014 African Nations Championship will run from 11th January to 1st February 2014. Ghanaian professional footballers are taking full advantage of the European transfer window, and the latest to seal a move is Black Stars right fullback Samuel Inkum, who is bent on shutting up his critics with some playing time to justify his call-up for the World Cup if that happens. Black Stars right back Samuel Inkum has joined struggling Greek Premiership side Platanias FC on a 6-month loan deal. The 24-year-old defender, who has been frozen out of Wande Ramos' team for almost a year at Ukrainian club Dnipro, has sealed another opportunity to play actively at club level in the January transfer window. Inkum will be looking to impress this time after his last unimpressive loan stint at French side Bastia 12 months ago. Platanias currently lie 14th on the 18-team Greek Super League table with 19 points in 18 games. Meanwhile, Jordan Ayew was represented to fans of his new club Sochaux this afternoon. Ayew joins Sochaux for the second half of the season for regular playing time to boost his chances of making Ghana's Brazil 2014 World Cup squad. Ayew debuted in the French League R on December 2009, scoring against FC Lorient for Marseille. He made 111 League R appearances for Olympique Marseille and scored 14 goals. So we can switch to sport now and do some boxing. And former light heavyweight Kenaita Powers has thrown a challenge to current WBO African light heavyweight champion barima, also known as Bukom Banku, to take him on for free. Both fighters have been at each other's throats leading up to what could have been a possible encounter in August later this year. The fight had to be cancelled because both men failed to agree on a winner-takes-all arrangement. The Powers has rescinded his decision, and he's saying that he wants to fight Bukom Banku for free.
I don't have problem about fighting Bukom Banku. It's up to the promoters. From the beginning, I'm waiting for the contract. I'm in Ghana. I'm waiting for the contract. They don't bring it before I left to Australia. And I told them, if you want me to come and fight Bukom Banku, I don't have problem about that. So if you can buy me the ticket in and out, I'll come and fight. Then I return back. They said no. I have to come and fight. And I said, what? Whereby I know that I'm in Australia, I'm here because of fight, and you people said I have to come and fight. So if it's like that, you should buy me the ticket. It's not that I can't buy the ticket, but it's a business. If somebody tells to me, ICT Powers, I don't want the fight, tell the person is lying. That day, everybody can see that Bankweba would pop. I know this guy from amateur. ICT Powers, Akpenato, Bukom Banku is a village champion. Bukom Banku is a village champion. Are you gone? Do you hear that Bukom Banku travel and get inside, pray, travel outside, fight before?
We just can't wait for this particular bout, but let's hope it happens. Expect a response from Bukum Banku definitely in the coming days. That'll be all for sports. My name is George Adi Jr. Gifty will join us with some more. Have a good night.
Sports was brought to you in association.
It's showbiz time. Now, reports making waves online indicates that Nana Boro, the hip-life hip-hop artist, has been involved in a fatal accident in the United States of America.
Aujourd'hui c'est la fête, on va gâter le coin, Kiobit, on y va. Tout le monde est présenté, vos chauffeurs s'il vous plaît, voici votre SK original, Nana Boro, on va gâter le coin.
Reliable information reaching us has it that higher depth hitmaker Nana Boro has been involved in a serious accident in the USA. The businessman Kumsinga is in the USA for business, where a close friend reveals that he had the accident. His friends reveal he is in a critical condition as the accident was very serious. Showbiz can only hope and pray for good health for the singer. For updates, just keep watching the space.
We really do hope that he's well enough. Now, in what seemed a drought season for popular comedy actor Ejako for the past 2 years, the once most popular actor has spoken about reasons why he's been lost on the screens in an interview.
Ejako, popularly known for his comic roles in movies, has for 2 years been lost on the screens for reasons best known to him. The concern of many is that Kojon Kansa, popularly known as Lowen, has taken over his shine. Speaking with Nana Kwame on Sky Power 93.5 FM in Takoradi, Ejako disclosed his absence has been due to the fact that most producers claimed his charges were too high and casting Lowen or any other was more affordable to them. He said his name is in the Guinness Book of Records for acting more movies than anyone in the world. So how can Lowen be popular or richer than him? The question Showbiz is asking is there a popularity contest between the two?
We are going to erase. Some can erase that. Erase this small girl there. We rob this particulars.
That's it for Showbiz. That's it for tonight. Our top stories this hour. Parliament dismisses a minority motion demanding investigations into the sale of Merchant Bank to Forties on grounds that the matter is still pending before the courts. Adentan Member of Parliament is challenging reasons behind a demolition exercise early Monday morning, which resulted in the death of a man shot by the police. He says he'll take the matter to the appropriate authorities for redress. President John Mahama is to meet with the media at the Flagstaff House as part of events to mark his 1 year in office. And NPP Chairman Jake Obeche-Bilamte has announced his intention to seek re-election as national chairman. Meanwhile, a youth activist insists the party can only be successful in the 2016 election if individual members shun their selfish interests. In international news, German Chancellor Angela Merkel has fractured a bone in her pelvis in a ski accident in Switzerland. Do appreciate your time with me. My name is Gifty Ando. Up next is PM Express. Please stay.